Also, Sunny back with another video. We got some new gameplay, some new footage, diving more into the open world aspect and just like the life of the game. We're looking at Star Wars Outlaws, a game I'm excited for. It drops in August. A lot of the games dropping this fall, this third quarter that I'm excited for. Black Myth Wukong, Assassin's Creed. You got this Star Wars Outlaws. I'm excited to see what Ubisoft does with this. From what I've seen, I've been really excited for it. You guys want to go check out my previous reaction to this? Link will be in the description. So let's dive into it. We got some Star Wars Outlaw wants to be your dream open galaxy. IGN first. Let's check her out.
Making games is really tough. Making open world games is really, really tough. And making Star Wars open world games is the next level of difficulty.
Julian Garrity, creative director at Massive Entertainment, is up for a challenge.
Dude, I'm so surprised like by now of like how much like development and backstory and just life that Star Wars just in general has over the years, that it has not been like a legit open world Star Wars game. I get it, it takes a long time to make one, but I feel like by now we should have at least 2 Star Wars like themed open world games, whether it be like an RPG or just like a looter shooter like this, not a looter shooter, but just an RPG like this, or like something like some World of Warcraft type, just where it's an open world. You feel like you get the environment has life. You know what I mean? I'm just surprised that we're just now at that point. But hey, I'm excited. I'm ready. I'm ready to see. I'm ready to feel like holy shit. I'm in Qatar. I'm in Dathomir. I'm in these areas. Like I'm really in these on these planets, instead of just like, oh, you can go here and then it just brick wall, you know.
For the first time ever, we're getting a fully open world Star Wars video game. It's been a long time coming, but after
fully open world, I'm gonna hold y'all to that.
Back-to-back successes with both The Division and The Division 2, Garrity was in the mood to take a risk.
This may be just my approach, but even if it's scary, you've got to do it. You've got to lean into it. What's the downside to pitching a Star Wars game at Lucasfilm Games in George Lucas's old office? I mean, what's the downside to that?
RP George Lucas.
It doesn't work, but you still have that experience.
Fast forward several years after that meeting.
Is George Lucas dead? I don't think he did. He just sold his company. He just retired, pretty much. Take that back. George Lucas is not dead. I don't think he's dead.
And Massive Entertainment is less than 2 months away from releasing Star Wars Outlaws, a fully realised version of the original pitch described in that office. An open world of dual ambitions, maintain the cinematic legacy of the films, and create immersive scoundrel gameplay that grants you the freedom of the galaxy.
I think it's taken this long to get.
I don't mind that there's like our main protagonist is a female. I just wish we had the option of either or. You know what I mean? And I hope that like her story, it starts from her at like teen age, just a little bit. Just let's get like some flashback moments that we're younger and we're doing missions. I hope that they throw that in there, because I really want some character development. I want to feel like we actually know this character by the middle of the game or just by the end of the game. You know what I mean? Just like Cal Kestis in the Jedi and the Star Wars Jedi. So.
Get an open world Star Wars game because of how, excuse the pun, massive it is to build a game like this. There are only so many studios in the world who build games of this scale. The door is then open for Massive to come to us and say, this is what we're interested in doing. This is the type of game design and gameplay we want. This is what we're thinking about in terms of an archetype. Where does that fit?
It's the outlaw player fantasy, and it's open world. Those were the 2 main pillars that we pitched. Why open world? Because the outlaw fantasy really needs that to live and breathe.
It's a combination
you
of,
can't be an outlaw and can't even travel outside of
our background.
enclosed zone.
Okay, what do we have a lot of experience doing?
Realistic.
What do we think we're good at? And this fantasy, the scoundrel in Star Wars, begs for freedom.
Massive was fully confident in its abilities to create engaging open worlds. The Division offered a bullet-filled action playground, while last year's Avatar Frontiers of Pandora displayed an ability to work well within a Disney license by building a near unmatched visual paradise. But Star Wars was the new challenge that this team yearned for. Of course, deciding what kind of experience would live inside a Star Wars open world was the first thing that had to be decided.
We took a step back, of course, and thought, okay, Star Wars open world, what an opportunity. What does that naturally want to be? And it wants to be the full scale from the very small to the very big, meaning sitting inside a cantina, playing sabak, walk through the street, jump on your speeder, drive across the planet's surface, park literally your bike in your own ship, take off into space seamlessly.
That vision of full scale helped secure a green light from Star Wars custodians, but getting Lucasfilm's blessing was just the key in the ignition. Translating the cinematic spectacle of the original Star Wars movie trilogy into an open world, set between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, two of the most iconic films of all time, was the actual challenge, one that Massive set out to address in every aspect of Outlaws, from the way it looks and sounds to the type of action-adventure gameplay it supplies.
Fire up the hyperdrive.
Make it an open world cinematic.
The sort of cinematic ambition that we had was in presentation. So that doesn't mean cinematics necessarily. What I care the most about is the interactive part, right? What we did was take a lot of inspiration from the original trilogy, but with today's technology. So very similar to what Rogue One did. What its aim was to do was to replicate a lot of the sort of filmic effects of those lenses of the 1970s. So you'll see barrel distortion on the sides, vignetting, film grain, chromatic aberration, and of course, all wrapped up in an ultra widescreen presentation.
It's a key point for open world games at large, but I think very much for Star Wars as well, and not always scale in that it needs to be grand, but it needs to be conscious. The scale of Tatooine needs and should and does in our game feel very different. It breeds open sand dunes, long sight lines. You see, it's easy to pick up any little anomaly on the horizon. There might be an opportunity for you compared to the dense streets of Kijimi.
Scale is something written into the very DNA of Star Wars.
I like that. Like, let me go explore these outskirts, and maybe I'll run into an enemy, or maybe I'll run into just a cave that I can explore. Now, you ain't got to put 100. You don't have to put 100, exploration caves. Obviously, it wouldn't feel realistic. But hey, you go a certain way, you go down a certain path. It might be a cave you stumble upon, or a temple, or just some undiscovered treasure. You know what I mean? A map to somewhere. You know what I mean? So I would love to see that. Literally just uncovering more of the map as you explore on your own too. You know what I mean? It's not linear. Just if it's open world like they say, let me get that full feel of it's open world, and I can actually explore this place.
Star Wars, whether seen on the big or small screen. Greg Fraser, Rogue One's director of photography, recently told IGN that
if you watch any Star Wars film, that's what it's all about. It's, knowing how big a human is going into this massive Millennium Falcon. How big the Millennium Falcon is going to this massive Death Star. It's scale upon scale upon scale.
It's a philosophy Garrity and the team at Massive took into Outlaws when crafting the introduction to its open world.
One of our intentions was, for the beginning of the game, to make it feel very small and then bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So beginning of the game, you start off in one room, and it's claustrophobic, and it's meant to make you feel a little bit trapped. You open up, and it's city streets, but it's contained. Then some narrative stuff, and you steal a ship, and you explode into the galaxy, and all of a sudden, you crash land on this planet, which is wide open world. That sort of sense of everything growing for you, not just the scale of the galaxy, but the scale of the possibilities for you as a character, as a rookie outlaw.
And as a gamer, bro, just having that feeling like, oh shit, like.
Outlaws campaign tells the tale of K-Vess, a young scoundrel looking to build a team from across the stars in order to pull off one big space heist and remove the death mark placed on her by the Zerek Besh crime syndicate. It's the basis of a story that evokes many other adventures from across both games and film.
I love
Mass Effect 2. It was is one of my favorite games.
I never played Mass Effect.
There were
Could never get
so
into it.
many influences, everything from Ocean's 11, Ocean's 8 to Star Wars itself, you know, the previous films. Like, that heist feeling was always kind of in the fabric, to just tonally the films of Kurosawa, those original influences to George Lucas.
Knowing what sort of story you want to tell is one thing. Telling an engaging story in an open world setting is another task altogether, and one that Kavari is well aware of, having written for Far Cry 4, 5 and 6, as well as The Division.
It's one of the things you always
I've
have
never
to
played
keep
any
in
of those. I
mind
played Far Cry,
is
like the
how are we
OG
gonna
one.
weave a narrative and an open world together.
I played
so
Far
that we're
Cry
telling
1,
the
2, and
story,
3.
but also giving you the freedom to sort of go wherever you like. We had a really clear approach on Outlaws, which was, there was Kay's journey. We called them sort of lighthouses. There were key points that we knew we want her to hit these, and then that makes her story kind of part of the wider Star Wars narrative. But between those moments, we knew early on that if you got distracted by curiosity, the world had to react to that. It had to expect that the player is going to go off the beaten path.
The things that lie off the beaten path are built in accordance to something Massive refers to as the 3-second rule, where within a few blinks of an eye you can instantly understand the nature of a location or character and the story behind them.
Before you even put life in them, they need to visually tell a story about what kind of place it is, what's happened in the past, what type of life and events have taken place in them. So they get that lived-in feeling, that lived-in, relatable, substantial feel. I think is a hallmark of any good open world, but also very Star Wars.
Star Wars' aesthetic has always been rooted in the idea of the used future, where everything from the largest spaceships to the tiniest droids have that instantly recognizable layer of grime. Those small details build up into authentic, cool and bespoke spaces, something Massive has always managed to build into its open worlds. The Division and its sequel are packed full of memorable levels ranging from New York landmarks to Washington DC museums, and that philosophy is being transferred to Outlaws' many planets. Its main missions promise to take us to iconic locations such as Imperial bases and Jabba's palace.
We can lean into the virtual tourism aspect of, hey, what is the distance between the moisture farms and Mos Eisley and the cantina? There is a linear roller coaster story, golden path, if you will. And around that, of course, there's the open world.
That's the dream I know I had as a kid. That is what I've always wanted from a Star Wars game, is that, you know, when I'm on a journey, when I'm entering into a quest, it might start on foot. It might start navigating a High Republic.
I think another thing that's kind of promising. I think another thing that's kind of promising for this game is that they're showing. It seems like they're showing a lot, but they're really not, because of how, like, the open world aspect, the open world, like, possibilities. I feel like what they've shown us is like 5% of the game, because it is open world. That gives me hope that it is open world, and I've known it's been open world for a while, but I feel like it seems like they're showing us a lot. But with an open world game, bro, they could literally do like 10 planets, you know what I mean? And we are only seeing 2-3 of them, you know what I mean? So,
but I want to be able to jump into my speeder and blast off, hop into the Trailblazer, take off into space, maybe land in a space station and meet some characters that factor into my quest or journey along the way. And so that sort of connective tissue of planet or moon to space.
I hope the playtime on this game is like 50 plus hours. Like, it can be on some like not Elden Ring, but just like, there could be a Ghost of Tsushima. Like, there's a lot of side quests on Ghost of Tsushima. So, like, by default, you're going to average at least, like, 35, 50 plus hours on that game, just because you're doing the main story and the side mission stories that lead into other missions, or opening up other environments and opening up other worlds. In this case, other worlds. But, like, on that game, just, like, other environments and, you know, locations and this new discovery. So I hope this game is like that, with it being open world. Like, you can be in a town and then there's, like, you know, 5 to 10 people that you can talk to, and that can open up, hey, would you like to do this job for me? That would build a relationship, or lead you to a whole nother location, or lead you to a whole nother like a scavenger hunt on that said planet. You know what I mean? So I hope that is something they are thinking about and doing.
It's crucial because that's kind of the fantasy that I think players are hoping for.
That fantasy and freedom is evidently at the core of Outlaws, and while all 5 planets and moons won't be instantly available to hyperdrive between, Garrity claims it won't be long into Kay's journey until the galaxy opens up.
There's a very structured intro that leads you to crash land on Tashara, which is a moon that we created with Lucasfilm Games. And once you finish the sort of linear narrative on Tashara, the other planets open up. And there it becomes completely non-linear, and you can choose to tackle those in any order you want.
Nice, okay. It's not linear exploration either. I like that.
Exploration of these worlds is highly encouraged, with maps that are not, at least initially, flooded with icons and points of interest, because you're seeing these places from a fresh perspective.
Kay, as a character, hasn't seen the galaxy. So the first time Kay comes to Tashara is the first time you come to Tashara. And it's not an unknown, uncharted place. So you'll have a map of where you can see there's mountains over there and stuff. But discovery is what gives you more information.
You're going to have to take some risks. You're going to have to go to a cantina, and you can eavesdrop, pick up on some conversations that will lead you to another location that reveals a location with risks. You're going to have to go to a cantina. And
so these couple icons, so I'm guessing this is like a location, like a ping of something, like a signal maybe. This looks like maybe like a bounty, or like it looks like a robbery or like something type of mission.
you can eavesdrop, pick
A handshake, maybe a possible partnership,
up on some conversation.
and then maybe that's like the main quest of like someone you're supposed to meet. So just right there were like multiple cantina rumors. So look for cantina. Okay, so that's like ear hustling, or maybe, you know, you're eavesdropping, as he just said. Something to eavesdrop, a relationship to build, somewhere to specifically go, maybe a bounty or a specific mission that you have to talk to somebody to do, or somebody looking for you or looking for somebody.
That will lead you to another location that reveals a location within the open world that you have to get on your speeder to go and find. There will be a fog.
Find the pirate camp, 245. Yeah, I like that. Find a pirate camp. That thing is far, and it's like you're exploring. I like that.
War that you'll be able to clear up, and that's really where your curiosity will open things up even more.
Each of Outlaws
See, I like
worlds
this because
vary in
I'm
size.
such an explorer, bro. Even like on linear games, I'll still try to like, even if there's a straight path, like, bro, I'm trying to figure out, oh, what is this? What is that? What kind of loot can I get on the way to my? So I love games like this because this just feeds into that.
Tashara, Massive's newly created moon, is around the same size as the jungle planet of Akiva, but a little smaller than the vast desert of Tatooine.
It was less about how big, but more about how long in terms of traversal with the speeder it would be. 4 or 5 minutes non-stop, which doesn't sound like a lot, but once you're committed, it's a fairly large amount. You're always going to be
5 minutes of
Assassin's
driving.
Creed Odyssey, which was one of the games that we were
that makes
looking
it
at.
feel like it's
while
at least
creating this, you have different
good
zones,
distance.
so it's 2 or 3 of those together.
And that doesn't even take into account the vast areas of space that surround each planet and serve as entirely different areas of orbital exploration and opportunity. We'll cover that, as well as the starship side of the game, in greater depth later on in this month's IGN First.
I said, run.
Expert reputation and the war system.
In terms of mission design, we've seen action ranging from stealth infiltrations, frantic dogfights, high-speed chases, and intense blaster battles, with some quests even evolving to include all these elements at different stages. Star Wars Outlaws is thus perhaps better thought of as a single-player narrative action-adventure in the wrappings of an open world, something more akin to Marvel's Spider-Man than dense RPGs like The Witcher or Ubisoft's recent Assassin's Creed games. Its mixture of popcorn action and blockbuster narrative ambition is a departure from Massive's gear-based experience on The Division. It's a new chapter in the continued evolution of a studio that started life as a real-time strategy developer.
I think if you look at the evolution of open world between Division 1 and Division 2, there's a life a dynamism, a systemic quality to Division 2 that we didn't have in Division 1. I'm not talking about the presentation, the soft values at all. I'm talking about pure gameplay experience, single player or cooperative. That was very, very important to us to have as a living, breathing element that engages players while they're playing Outlaws.
It's an evolution of what Massive has been doing in their games for years now, keeping worlds feeling bustling and alive even when set against post-apocalyptic backdrops or in the midst of galactic wars.
We, in both Division games, but especially in the second one, developed what we called living world systems. So same thing here. We have systems that make sure that the world is always alive with movement, traffic, speeders zipping around, the Empire patrolling, the syndicates have footholds out there, sometimes more substantial events happen. It's really up to you if you want to engage or not.
Perhaps Outlaws' most interesting method of breathing life into its open world is its approach to character progression. There's no leveling up or incremental stat boost to drop experience points into. Instead, Kay's ability and equipment are linked to experts, people you'll meet across the galaxy who'll grant you upgrades in exchange for work.
I heard you're the best shot on the planet.
Oh, and you want to be second best.
They are full-on characters.
So literally, in order to get good at the game, so to speak, you gotta play that motherfucker. I know that sounds like duh, but like literally, like you have to explore. You can't do this. It's not just gonna come from just sticking to one exact. You're not gonna get everything by just playing one exact way. You gotta talk to this person, go to do this mission, do a bounty, do a snatch and grab, do a variety of things.
You don't know exactly who they are, what exactly they have to offer you, and how to reach them from the very beginning. So there's this journey of discovery here as well. Intel, clues, okay, I think there's a guy or gal or something that can do good things to my speeder here. Meaning these are really strong incentives for you to move around and journey through the world and expose yourself to other fun things on the way. And once you reach them, there's a character there to interact with and an adventure to go on, because they want instantly just, oh, here you go, right? And then they essentially open up a little regional progression for you where the nature of unlocking those things is also very tangible.
For example, after finding a Jawa by sourcing their location from overheard intel at a cantina, you can complete a mission for them in order to gain a new skill. In this case, it's to venture into a dead Sarlacc to find a pristine tooth from its second mouth, which you can then exchange for a laser turret for Kay's starship, the Trailblazer. It's a smart way of blending gameplay progression with narrative befitting of the Star Wars criminal underbelly.
You can
That's literally what would happen though in like Star Wars movie, like
an expert.
Oh, I see you don't got this on your ship. I can get you one. It's like, yeah, I need one. What do I gotta do? And it's like, oh, all you gotta do is go here and get this off this dude who fought me in a bar last week in Kentucky. And it's like, oh, okay. It's like that's stuff you see in Mandalorian and freaking Boba Fett and just any Star Wars. It's always like give to get. And then you build that relationship.
Who is going to teach Kay a new skill, give her a new upgrade, to her blaster. That skill, that upgrade definitely ties into Kay pulling off the heist, but it's also very much its own journey, which is in the Star Wars tradition as well.
Another system aiming to marry gameplay with narrative is how Outlaws tracks Kay's reputation with each of the criminal syndicates. Her bond with each of the Hutts, Pikes, Crimson Dawn and Ashiga clan will strengthen or weaken depending on your choices in dialogue and mission objectives.
I'm gonna finish it. Shame.
Your reputation moving in the positive direction unlocks a lot of things for you. Everything from actual access to territory that they control, where you might have been able to sneak in otherwise, to landing pads in the open world, discount with traders affiliated with the syndicate, unique, really exotic rewards, etc., etc. But if you really get on their bad side, that's another thing.
If you do or don't build certain relationships with characters, then you don't unlock certain stuff, or you do unlock certain stuff because you've built a relationship. Like you just said, you get discounts with merchants and exchanges and stuff like that. So the game is really going to you shape your story in this game. I like that.
Feel dynamically in the game because they actually send hit squads out for you in the open world.
The reputation system doesn't just sit inside of missions though. Smaller opportunities regularly present themselves to boost your relationships among the syndicates. These might be smaller skirmishes where choosing to get involved can benefit you and the organisation you side with, and a strong bond may even help you out with the bigger threat looming over the galaxy.
I love the little buddy we get to get.
If you've, for whatever reason, ended up wanted and you're being chased by Empire and you cross paths with a syndicate that you have really good reputation with,
I love it.
They might
I love our little companion.
Outlaws directly follows the events of The Empire Strikes Back and sees the Imperial forces at the peak of their powers. In gameplay terms, the Stormtroopers are basically like GTA's police and adopt a similar wanted system. Find yourself in a restricted area or accidentally fire a stray laser bullet at a Stormtrooper and you'll quickly find yourself in hot water. It's by no means a revolutionary system when it comes to open world design, but one that is made all the more exciting thanks to a lick of Imperial black and white paint.
It has a good range of escalation and de-escalation. It's really up to you if you want to try and hide or maybe bribe an Imperial officer that's a bit corrupt in a city somewhere, or try to jump to a different space region. But you will feel it, and let's just say there are Death Troopers for a reason.
Hang on!
Balancing quality with quantity.
Beyond the main missions, expert side missions, and the reputation system at the core of it all, many other snackable activities exist in Outlaws open world. These range from quick contracts such as smuggling and stealing, gambling in Sabak, to playing asteroid-filled arcade shooter games, and betting on Canto Bite's Favia racing. All of these activities bolster your ever-growing supply of credits, which can be used to purchase new customization and gear options for Kay, a pet like alien companion Nyx, and the Trailblazer. And yet, there's more. Emergent events frequently take place throughout the open world, whether on land or in space.
Every 2-3 minutes, there'll be something that's happening, whether it's an ambush or the Empire arresting some civilians or combat with some criminal syndicates, and it's up to you whether you want to engage or not.
So with so much to do in Star Wars Outlaws, how does Massive go about avoiding open world bloat? With a near endless galaxy of opportunity, there's the worry that things may spiral, feature creep sets in, and everything just gets too big. The studio had a clear plan from the start though, leading with variety over size,
like
quality over quantity, if you will.
We don't want things to be just big for big sake. We need it to be contained, always fun, always proposing different activities.
Yeah, don't just
It's about
let it be
calibrating
open. There's
size
no life
to
in it.
substance. When you see something that breaks pattern, that stands out for whatever reason, and you go there and look, there's something there to do, and that repeats frequently enough, and that the quests, the bespoke kind of content of the game makes use of it, so that it doesn't feel like a separate experience, but it's all one.
Of course, no matter how much there will be to do in Outlaws, one thing that can be expected is a healthy helping of nods to the larger Star Wars galaxy. Lando is set to make an appearance, and we've already seen a glimpse of Han Solo and Carbonite, but it sounds like they might just be the tip of the iceberg.
There's Easter eggs, there's characters that you'll meet along the way across the main quests and across, whether it's the experts or, you know, the wider stories you're going to stumble across. August 30th is a really great date. I recommend bookmarking it in your calendar.
August 30 is right around the corner. A short wait for many players for whom an
about a
open
month
world
away.
game set in a galaxy far, far away has been a long-held dream. I could feel a similar passion for Star Wars coming out of each person I spoke to at Massive, and for them, I can't help but get the sense that that dream is a shared one. Making open world games is tough, and bringing open world to Star Wars may well bring an extra level of difficulty. But for Garrity and the team, it's been a challenge.
A little bit more
worth
excited
taking
about
on.
the game.
I'm not as young as I used to be, and I'm getting to
I still
that
have
point
pretty much
where
the same
I
excitement
think I
idea,
can
but
count
like,
the number of games I can do
it definitely
till I'm
does
put out to
make me
pasture
dive in a little
on
bit
one
more.
hand, and it becomes more and more important to me to choose what I do, because it's really important for me to do quality work with people that I love working with, and Star Wars is definitely bucket lists.
So, where do we go next?
Awesome.
Anywhere we want.
We'll have more exclusive looks at Star
$100
Wars Outlaws
says
for
that
you
is
throughout
literally
July.
the
And for everything
cutscene from
else,
the end of the
stick
game.
with
Like when you
IGN.
finish the game, $100 says that is the damn cutscene. I like that. I like that. I'm excited for it. I'm excited for it. Star Wars Outlaws, August 30th. Like he said, bookmark it. I'm excited. Guys, don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. Drop a comment if you guys are excited about this game as well. Like I said, there's a lot of games coming out August. third quarter in general, especially August. There's 3 to 4 that I know for sure. So what are you copping day one? What's your like August? What August game are you most excited for? Let me know. Drop a comment. Drop a like if you enjoyed the video. I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.